Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, my name is Blaine Volpe. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm the Senior Director at Future Caucus, the country's largest cross-partisan organization for Gen Z and millennial lawmakers. We help lawmakers build strong working relationships and work on policy solutions together so that political polarization is not an obstacle to solving problems. In the past 10 years, that work has allowed us to support more than 1,800 young members of Congress and young state lawmakers, many of them at the state and local level, and we equip many of them to launch their own caucuses in their own states. The reason our organization exists is to activate the next generation of elected officials to govern effectively and to do it together. We believe we can shape a better future, a healthy democracy, and a culture of pluralism by helping these leaders lead. Our job is to provide the convening space, the professional development workshops, the introductions to bipartisan policy experts, and the megaphone to tell their stories far and wide. Their job is to show up, to do the hard work of listening to one another, and even harder, the action of working together. These young lawmakers may very well be your future committee chairs and speakers and governors. And so their commitment to working across the partisan spectrum and the divide, to building coalitions, is a skill I think we can all agree on. It is critical to build early on, and it gives us hope of what to look forward to in the future. Today, we are pleased to be presenting the outstanding leadership and co-chairs of our Pennsylvania Future Caucus, a bipartisan caucus that encourages young people to get results and lean into conversations across the aisle about relevant issues. We have here our co-chairs, Representative Thomas Kutz and Representative Justin Fleming, who will speak to us shortly about their Future Caucus goals for 2024. I look forward to their shared legislative and policy input for the caucus as we prepare for the exciting months ahead. Currently, there are 82 millennial and Gen Z millennial lawmakers in Pennsylvania, so making up about 32% of the state's legislature. We're honored to have them contribute to our nationwide network of young lawmakers who share the common conviction that if we work together, America's best days are ahead. Pennsylvania's young lawmakers know that the Future Caucus is committed to empowering the next generation of leaders, ensuring they have the skills, networks, and resources to overcome polarization and drive positive change. Together, we know that united, we can transform the landscape of American politics. Without further ado, your Pennsylvania Future Caucus co-chairs.
Thank you, Blaine.
Thank you, Blaine. Good morning. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for being here. I'm State Representative Thomas Kutz. I represent the 87th District in Cumberland County, and I'm proud to be joined by my good friend and colleague, Representative Justin Fleming here, as we together co-chair Pennsylvania's bipartisan Future Caucus. The Future Caucus was started last year when Justin and I came together partly because of our shared background and friendship and desire to work together, and a conversation that friends across the aisle can have to realize that there are so many issues that affect Pennsylvanians and Americans that transcend party lines. And so our goal for this group was to do just that, to bring together young lawmakers who understand the challenges facing the next generation of Pennsylvanians so that we together could pass bipartisan legislation to make a difference in our Commonwealth. We're excited to unveil the caucus's priorities for 2024 today, which include housing affordability, higher education, and childcare. Many Pennsylvania families today are saddled with what we call 3 mortgage payments. The first is a mortgage on their home. The second is an equivalent payment of a mortgage to student loans. And the third is an equivalent mortgage payment for the cost of childcare. The Bipartisan Future Caucus this year will focus its priorities and legislative solutions on these 3 areas to help Gen Z and millennial Pennsylvanians and the next generation overcome financial challenges. To combat the current housing crisis and help prospective homeowners plant roots in Pennsylvania, I recently introduced a bill to exempt first-time homebuyers from paying realty transfer taxes. In addition, colleagues in the House have offered bills to make housing more affordable through additional tax breaks, grants, and incentives for both homeowners and builders, as well as updating building codes and regulations. Over the past 4 years, a lack of supply coupled with the increasing costs for both rentals and home purchases are making it difficult and near impossible for many Pennsylvanians to plant roots here. Estimates project Pennsylvania is short 98,000 housing units. The median new home sale price in Pennsylvania last year was over $560,000. That is $130,000 more than the national average. Most counties in the Commonwealth have fewer than 30% of renters paying below the recommended 30% of their income on housing. Access to affordable housing supports strong families, promotes employment, weans those living at or below the poverty levels off public support by transitioning them to family-sustaining jobs, and it supports our local economies. Business leaders continue to emphasize Pennsylvania's labor shortage is being exacerbated by a lack of housing stock for their workers. We absolutely must work together on this fundamental issue. Secondly, for several decades, higher education has been considered a ticket to receiving the American dream. Sadly, the dream is now unaffordable for many. The cost of higher education has been skyrocketing, and today the average cost of tuitions and fees at Pennsylvania colleges for in-state students is over $14,000 per year. And that does not even include room and board, books, and other necessary purchases. This is higher than the national average, and a lack of understanding about higher education loans has in many ways stifled generations of Pennsylvanians. Many students who commit to this massive financial burden are doing so at just 18 years old. We need to provide resources that better explain this cost and the long-term investment these young Pennsylvanians will make so students can pursue a career path with their eyes wide open. That's why Representative Fleming and I have partnered on a bill to create a cost comparison tool that would allow students to easily shop for colleges. This is just one of many solutions aimed at addressing the rising cost of higher education. In addition to supporting students pursuing a traditional four-year college degree, we must also elevate opportunities in the trades and apprenticeship programs. Third and finally, to address the burden of childcare costs, which often equal or exceed what many families pay in a mortgage on their home or a rental unit, we are committed to working together on initiatives that incentivize employers to support their workers and their families with adequate child care and parental leave. We feel that by working together and being unified on these three issues, we can advocate not only for this generation, but for future generations of Pennsylvania residents. The financial landscape needs to change in order to empower Pennsylvanians to achieve their personal goals, and we're excited to work to make that happen. I'd like to thank Future Caucus, our wonderful national partners, for being here today to support our efforts in Pennsylvania, and all those members who have joined the Future Caucus so that we can together realize that working together is the best way to effectively govern and get things done here for all Pennsylvanians. Thank you so much for being here today. At this time, I'd like to introduce the Democratic co-chair of the Future Caucus, my good friend, Representative Justin Fleming.
Thank you, Thomas. Well done. Excellent job. Thank you, everybody. And I think, in reflecting on our priorities and the work that we're set to do, the nice thing is not only can we agree on a shared set of priorities, but we can agree on a shared set of solutions. That's often the most difficult part, right? Identifying a problem is one thing, but when you really think about it, the more difficult piece of that is what do you do to help solve the problem. So as Thomas said, his bill to save realty transfer tax for individuals, for first-time home buyers, that's going to save them thousands. And especially with interest rates being higher than what they were, that's a big savings down the road for first-time home buyers. I was just in the Finance Committee last week, and they considered a bill, they approved a bill, the committee approved a bill by Representative Liz Hanbidge to incentivize or provide a tax break for companies that help subsidize childcare for their employees. These are big things. And the nice thing is about this partnership is I have a few years on Thomas. And so, you know, even before I became a legislator in this building, I was a mental health and child advocate. So I've seen these issues. Unfortunately, we're still working on these things. Housing has been a problem for the last decade or more. We're still working on those solutions. Affordable child care has been an issue. Higher education, you know, I think part of what we see now, and one of the fixes we can have in the higher education space is more loan forgiveness programs, particularly for those. I know Thomas and I have talked about how we keep our residents here in Pennsylvania. How do we keep talented people here in Pennsylvania who want to stay here? Well, one of those solutions could be a loan forgiveness program where if you go to school in Pennsylvania and you agree to stay here for 5 years and work, or 10 years, whatever the number may be, you know, we incentivize you to stay here in the Commonwealth. You're educated here. Use your talents here. You know, perhaps you meet a significant other. Perhaps you stay, raise a family, and plant roots. And so for states like Pennsylvania, which we are growing but not at the rate of other states, a lot of this is around thinking about how we keep those future generations here. And so, again, this works in part because of our ages and our experiences that we bring to the table. For example, I'm also a parent. My 17-year-old son is looking at colleges. Now, he probably wants to stay home, but he's looking at an affordable option on the undergraduate level because he thinks he may want to go to law school. That's a big deal. So he's a 17-year-old aware enough to make that decision about his financial future. He wants something on the undergraduate level that's affordable, that doesn't cripple him financially going forward because he knows he wants to attend law school. So, you know, the fact that we both bring our varied experiences into this, I think makes this an excellent partnership. And I look forward, as Tom is saying, to work together, not only to identify these problems, but work together on solutions. And I also want to thank the other 18 members that we have in our future caucus. I think we're at about 20 members now, so hopefully we grow. And now that we're established, even into next session, when we have a new crop of members join us, we can advertise and get it out there pretty early on that the future caucus is here for those of us who want to come together in a bipartisan way and work together. So that'll conclude my remarks. Blaine, if you have anything in conclusion. Otherwise, we can take some questions.
Yeah, any questions?
Well, thank you all so much for coming today.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much.